Hi, it's Gary again from One Man Banter. So following on, we're just going to go over the cash flow forecast, just so we can check see if the numbers that we came up with last week are going to be any good. So see if they're going to be profitable or not. So I'm just going to jump onto this Excel spreadsheet and I'll just go through a couple of things with the information that I've put into this cash flow forecast. So first and foremost is going to be our monthly sales. Now these sales are all excluding any materials, so this will just be purely sales or things that we've charged per hour. It won't include any boilers or any parts that's being fitted or things like that. So this is just going to be purely the hourly rate charge or daily rate charge of what we came up with last time. So I've put it down as £5,208.34 monthly. So that'll just be as monthly income. Obviously, in reality, it's going to fluctuate. It's not going to be the exact same amount every single month. But just for ease of doing this, I've just left it exactly the same, even though it's not going to be the same. So the first expense I've come up with is consumables, which generally costs, I don't know, could be anything, £100 a month generally, which will be bits and bobs that you just don't charge for. So box of screws, a couple of fittings, flux, solder, gas, and bits and bobs like that, smoke matches, pellets and things that say you wouldn't generally charge per job for. Then the second one is the salary. So I've just put the salary at 35,000, which seems like a reasonable amount. Probably average salary these days for a plumbing and heating engineer. You can get some up to 50,000, some as low as 30. But say I've just put 35. Then the next one is van. So I've included the van and insurance. So the van that I've just purchased generally costs about £500 per month. Then you've got insurance on top of that and road tax, which generally I've just put it down at 583, which is roughly what it is. Then the next one is fuel, and same say I generally do about £100 per month in fuel. I don't generally travel too far, so this is my fuel expenses. Then after that it's mobile phone. Then also there's a couple of other things that we can include, so such as training. I do have a subscription for the software that I use, field service software, which is called Powered Now, which cost me, I don't know, about £400 a year. So this is the first year, so there's also going to be things included, such as uniform, a couple of pairs of Snickers, they're, as daft as it sounds, they're £100 a piece. A pair of work boots, see I wear the Skechers, they're £90. So, and then a couple of t-shirts, hoodies, coats and things. So I've just averaged that at £400. A new iPad, I've probably under-egged this one, but an iPad will generally cost you, I don't know, £350. And then the tools. So same say, because it's year one, we're just classing this as you're going to have to buy everything. So I've allowed about £1,500 for tools. I know it's, if you're a tool snob, it's going to cost you a lot more. However, if you're not so much a snob and you're just starting out, you may get away with £1,500. You probably won't. Then The next one is VAT. Now, the first year you're not going to have to go VAT registered. However, it could be a good idea to bite the bullet and start off being VAT registered, so it's not a shock to the system once you start making more, because once you achieve more than £85,000 turnover, you've got to go VAT registered anyway. I mean, I'm not an accountant or anything, so I'm not going to explain that to you, but at the end of the day, it is something that you are going to have to contend with, so you may as well start at the beginning. And even if for the first year you don't break the VAT limit, if you put 20% of your turnover away, it at least gets you in a good stead for future. So, as daft as it sounds, put 20% of your turnover into a separate account, and then at the year end you'll have some cash left over. So, same say that's VAT, that'll be calculated at 20%. Then after that, phone line, so we're not going to really have one of them, we'll just work off as mobile, because nobody's going to be sat at home in office to answer the phone. CRM system, there's no real need for the CRM system just yet. That'll be something that we'll look into a little bit later on. So then after that, we've got Microsoft Office on Google accounts. So I have both. I have Office 360 and Google Suite. I use the Google Suite for my email addresses, and then I just have Microsoft Office just because I prefer to use Word rather than Word and Excel rather than Google's whatever Google's is, Sheets or whatever. Then after that, I've got a laptop. Same say, just going to be a cheap and nasty one. It doesn't have to be not sparkling. That's going to be £300 that I've allowed for that. Then it's going to be rents, rates and utilities. That's for a unit. Obviously going to be working from home, so there's no need for me to include that, but obviously as we look to scale, we'll be looking to obviously either purchase or rent a unit where we can keep majority of stock and surplus. Then after that, we've got marketing. Now I've budgeted at £500 per month for marketing, because if we're starting from scratch, we are going to have to spend a fair amount just to start getting wheels turning, getting phone ringing, getting some people in. So same say, I've started relatively low at £500 per month, so we are kind of assuming that we haven't got a customer base. Then we've got business insurance. Same again, I put that at £100 a month. I generally pay about £700 a year for my insurance. Then after that, it's if we're looking to offer finance, the finance companies usually charge us a percentage. Well, not a percentage, they'll charge us a percentage, but generally these days as well they'll charge us a monthly fee. I'll not be looking at offering finance. I've tried to offer it 2 times now. I did the first one for 3 years and nobody even asked for finance, and then I tried it again earlier this year and same again, nobody's really interested. So it could just possibly be where I live that people just don't generally get finance for such a small amount. So if you do want to, there's plenty of places that'll help you offer finance to your customers, but same as I say, that's not really for me. I've tried it and I've never had one inquiry for it. The next one is payment fees. Now this is the one that most people will probably miss off. So if you've got a card reader, they generally charge you, I think the last one I had was with Barclays, it went about 1.6% plus 20 pence on every transaction. I've just signed up with a new one, which is 0.5% per transaction. So I'm actually saving myself 1%, well, 1.1% and 20 pence, which you don't generally think is a lot of money, but like 1% does generally build up over the course of 12 months. So if you're doing 65,000 in turnover, and 1% of that is £6,500. So same say, it soon mounts up. So we've got payment fees in. Also, if you pay cash in at bank, I think my bank charges me round about same again, 1.5%, maybe 2%. I never pay cash in bank anymore, but the last couple of times I did a few years ago, they were charging me extortionate amounts just to put cash in bank. So that's also something else to remember. Then after that, we've got the accountant. Usually charges about, I don't know, £1,200 a year just to do year-end books for a limited company, and payroll as well, and all that other stuff that generally that you pay an accountant for. And then after that, we've got bank charges. My bank charges me £8 a month, plus fees on top as well. So they're all the expenses. We started off with zero balance as well. If you want, you can adjust that, and you can start off, I don't know if you're going to put 20, 30, 40,000 pounds into your account, just to make sure that you've got a buffer for buying all these things that you're going to need, and starting up. But same as I say, I'll be starting at zero, just for ease of purpose. We'll know exactly where we're going to start. So now we've put all those details in, we can see just over here that it's £62,500, and that's his income. Then as an engineer's salary, that's £35,000. His van's costing us £7,000 just short of per year, and then we've got £1,200 in fuel. Your fuel is, it just depends on you, how you use your van, how far you travel for work. Me personally, I don't like to travel too far, so usually I'll stay within a 15-mile radius. So I don't generally, I'm not doing mass amounts of miles. Then we've got £600 for a mobile phone, which is something that we're going to need. And then same again. We've got his subscription fees, his uniform, iPad and everything. So if we look at these now, we're going to skip all the way down. So we've got his first monthly income, that's £5,208, and then his expenditure, so what we've got going out the first month is £9,445. So the first month we're minus 4,237, and then looking at this on a monthly basis, we're going to be minus around about £1,200 per month. So by end of the year, we're going to be down £17,840 if we work off these numbers. Same again, this is entire purpose of this, because what we might need is, for us to stay afloat, we need to either charge more or work for less. Now the good thing about these cash flow forecasts is, by getting everything out, the numbers can't lie to you. You can lie to yourself, and many people do. They'll be self-employed and they'll be turning over 70, £80,000 a year, and they'll think they're doing good. But when they calculate everything into it, more likely than not, they'd have been better off with a job. And it's sad to say, but it is quite common in most self-employed people's lives. There isn't many people making as much money as they would like to believe. So this is why I've done this, just so, and this is based on charging £50 an hour. So as we can see, well, I say £50, it's about £48 an hour. It clearly isn't going to be enough to be sustainable. But I mean, these figures, you're going to end up nearly £18,000 in debt by end of year. It's a pointless exercise. Now you could try to roll it over, and we'll go into year 2, and we'll see how that's going to look. But same say, we're going to be already starting year 2 on a negative, so we're down 17,840. Now the good thing is, because we took the money out for the VAT, which is £12,500, what we can do is we can calculate how much we've got if how much we've actually got in the bank. So initially we thought we were down 17,840, but because we saved 20%, even though we weren't VAT registered, now if we'd have been VAT registered, that 20% would have been going straight to the taxman. But because we saved 20%, we're actually only down 5,340. So we can start that second year a little bit better. We are still in negative, but let's be truthful. We have just started. But the main key is that you are going to be taking a wage home with you. So the engineer's salary is £2,917, but that is before tax and national insurance. So your tax and national insurance will have to come off of that. So as we go into year 2, we actually started the year as if we had not saved the 20%. So if we'd have been VAT registered, that would have gone to taxman. So we would have been minus 17,000 for the beginning of year 2. As we can see, we're turning over £10,000 a year, a month, sorry. And as we come down, we've got a salary exactly the same, van exactly the same. Subscription, we probably won't need another uniform, but that's entirely up to yourself. If you do want a new uniform, you can always add that back in, and it's up to you how much you plan on putting down for your uniform. Same as I say, the sketchy workbooks I wear, they're round about £90. 2 pairs of Snickers, they're usually 120 quid each. And then your shirts, jumpers, hoodies, coats. If you're having them all embroidered with your logo or whatnot, it's same say they're going to cost you another 150 quid maybe. So same say you're looking at round about 400 quid for your uniform. So on the second year it's slightly different as well. So if we look just round here, you can see that I've added savings at 11.25%, VAT at 20%, and dividends at 3.75%. So what we'll be looking to do is, because this will be a limited company for me personally, if it's not for you, then fair enough, but we'll be looking to take dividends out every single year. The VAT man because we're going to be above £80,000, the Batman's going to want his 20% regardless. So that needs to come out. But what you need to bear in mind is if you're going to pay Batman 20%, then why not pay yourself in your business? Granted, you probably may not be able to pay yourself 20%, but I've got it down at 15%. So there'll be 11.25% in savings, which will be saved each year to be reinvested into the business, and then we'll take 3.75% of dividends out every year, or we'll probably take it out every month. So yeah, they're just that's just the way that I'd be looking to do it. So before, I'd never considered doing any of these things, and the problem is you just live to your means, and whatever you've got you will pretty much spend if you don't actively make sure that you put money aside and keep it out of way. Whatever you keep in the same bank account that you pay your bills in will, and I guarantee you, will disappear to your bills. So take that 35% out, put it to the side, and I guarantee that you'll thank me later for it. So they're the only difference in this one. Same again, we've got the Microsoft Word accounts. Marketing, because it's the second year, we're wanting to increase and double, so we're going to increase our marketing spend. I've took it from £500 up to £1,000, mainly because we're going to be looking to employ a second engineer halfway through this year as well. So if we start by increasing the volume of work, this is what we'll be looking to do. Same as I say, the income, it's never going to be like this. Generally June, July, August, possibly beginning of September, a lot slower than what you'll find in October, November, December. January can be very slow just after Christmas, and then it might pick back up in February, March, then start to die down a little bit in April. But it's same say, these are just for simplistic purposes that we're going to use same amount of income every single month. So we've increased his marketing budget to 1,000, same as I've just said. There's only one engineer, so his business insurance is going to be the same as it was last year pretty much. Might go up 50 quid, might go down 50 quid. Most likely go up, it rarely goes down. So then same again, we've got his payment fees, his accountant, and his bank charges. So on the first one, you can see we had an income of 10,417 and we only spent 9,000. So we're actually in front that year, that part of the year. Granted, it's only by £900, but it's still a bonus. And also, don't forget that we are actually taking us 15% out profit for next year as well. So as you can see, every single month we're paying a little bit more off, and we're dwindling that money down until we get January, which is when we're looking to employ a second engineer. So even though we'll be employing another engineer, it just means that we can increase the volume of work. We've made sure that we've created the demand, and we've got enough work in place for us to employ someone. And then same again, we've got to start again. So we've got your salary, his salary. So you're both going to be looking at 35 grand a year. Then we've got we need to change that to 2 vans, so that's going to double. And so is your fuel. Now it depends, it's up to yourself. Because there's only 2 in you could attempt to just work out to 1 van, depending on type of work that you'll be doing, especially if it's mainly installs. If you've got 1 person doing installs, other person doing servicing at small jobs, you may or may not need 2 vans. Ideally, personally, if you're employing an engineer, I would probably get a second van as well, but it's each to their own. So we're going to just double that as well. And then we'll be doubling phone as well. So you'll be supplying him with your phone, iPad. You may not give him an iPad, you may just buy him an iPhone and let him work off that and fill the CP12s in and everything off of that. Or you may just give him a pad. Entirely up to yourselves. Me personally, I've not used paper pads for 10 years, so it just works better for me. Or you may just give him some money towards his own phone bills and do it that way. However you feel best. Me personally, I'd probably look at supplying them with a phone and an iPad. And do it that way. Then same again, we'll be paying for his subscription, his uniform, iPad, and then another 1,500 quid for tools. But they're only, obviously, if we can see one off. Then we can see that his Google accounts double, because obviously we're going to give him his own email address, so we can contact him, which will be his name at whatever your domain is. That's generally the way I would do it, but same again, entirely up to yourselves if you're wanting to save money. So the marketing will be staying at 1,000 at that point, because same say we have been doing some marketing for 6 months trying to increase demand. As business insurance will go up by employing another person, so if we just say, just for ease of it, it's going to double. At that point until end of year. We'd already increased his accountant fees. We doubled his accountant's fees. Now it probably won't make much difference to your accountant other than having to do additional payroll, which isn't really going to cost you that much with your accountant. But I like to be a bit in front. I'd sooner overestimate how much it's going to cost us than underestimate it. So yeah, his bank charges are going to stay the same and everything. So as you can see, we had a massive jump up there once we started to employ somebody. As it were coming down, it started to shoot back up, and as we can see, we're going to end up in the red at £27,108. But luckily, because we'd saved 11.25%, sorry, we've managed to reduce that down to 13,000. So because we've managed to save £14,000, which would have been for this exact purpose, we've reduced his actual debt down to 13,000. But same again, I'll start the third year at 27,108 in debt. So we're going to start at 27,108 in debt. Right, so same again, we're doubling, so we're going to take it up to £20,833.34p. Same again, that's going to be his income. So these, we don't worry about these because I've purposely kept out the materials side of things just to make it easier. So we are just working purely on the hourly rate that we would charge. And same say, this will be, at the moment we'd be charging £48 per engineer. What is it, £48? Yeah, £48.36 per engineer. So as you can see, we're going into beginning of year 3, and we have taken on a third engineer as well as cells, which will still be working. So we've trebled his wages, we've trebled how much his van's going to cost, trebled his fuel, trebled his phone bill, trebled his subscription, and then his uniform again. Right, so subscription isn't going to be that much per year. Right, so take that off. We had to buy, because we took on another engineer, we had to buy another iPad. Everybody's got new uniforms, and we had to buy another lot of tools. So as you can see, his first month we're actually minus £6,000, so we actually 32,000 in all. We also doubled his budgeting, his marketing budget. As you can see, we're losing about £1,400 per month with 3 engineers and keeping everything as it is. Which means, like, there's 2 ways round it. Either increase your hourly rate or increase the hours, the billable hours. So yeah, this is why we set this bit up, so we could find out exactly where we're going to be. So yeah, we are losing, same say, round about £1,400 per month. I've put it down for a new, after 6 months everybody will get a new uniform. You're probably not going to go through uniforms this often, but it just depends. It depends on type of work. If you're doing installation work and you like to keep your engineers looking clean and tidy, which me personally is kind of what I'd be looking for, because you are going to be looking to create a brand. It's not just going to be you by yourself. So you will be creating a brand, so you do want everybody to look uniform, everybody to look, work, act the same, and you want everybody to look nice and clean, nice and tidy. You don't want traipsing traipsing through with holes and silicone all down the top or all down the trousers. They've got to look presentable. So yeah, so every 6 months, new uniform. Probably won't have to go full uniform. You're not gonna be going through work boots every 12 months. I wouldn't have thought, and you're not gonna go through work shirts every 12 months as well. But same, you never know. So as you can see, we're gradually losing £1,400 a month in year 3. But luckily, because we'd put 11.25% away, we reduces deficit from 50,000 down to 21,000. Or we could just keep it in the separate bank account, and then we would have had so if we'd have kept it from first year, we'd have had 12,500 plus 14,000 plus 28,000. So just by keeping that money in a separate account, you would have actually had a little bit of a buffer. Granted, you would have been you'd have been sinking it a little bit. You'd been down by £40,000, but you'd have had a little bit of a buffer at the side as well, just in case you needed that money. So then, moving on to year 4, is where things start to change ever so slightly. So we're going up to £40,000 per month. As you can see, we've got 5 engineers plus ourselves plus 1 admin staff as well. So we have to increase his vans to 6 vans, 6 lots of fuel, 6 phones, and then we've got 6 subscriptions, 6 uniforms, another 3 iPads, and another 3 lot of tools. Same say, these are all estimates, but it just goes on to show where we are. So that first year, by employing another 2, that first month, sorry, of that 4th year, by employing another 3 engineers, that puts us down by £15,000. We already started negative from last year, and we would have been 49,136. £49,336. No, 136. 49,136. So, same to say, we're already down 15,000 at the beginning of that year. And then, as we move along, we can see that we are actually still losing. We'll just round it up to make it simple, but we're losing £4,000 a month by year 4. We've increased his marketing budget to £4,000 as well. Also, we've either purchased or we're renting a unit, which is costing us approximately £1,000 a month. We've installed, obviously, because we've got office staff, we've got a phone line in there, we've got a CRM system now, which is costing us £350, so we can monitor his customer relations. We can there'll be people in office that'll be phoning customers and producing sales and help with the just the general management of the sales process, rather than having to do everything by yourself. You may at this point even be coming off at tools, or you certainly, I would imagine, you'd be looking to spending a lot less time off at tools and more time generating work and building the foundations. But as you can see, just because of we've not increased his hourly rate at all, and same say it's still £48, and as we can see, it's hemorrhaging money. So looking at it, it's not a sustainable amount of money at that. So we'd have to go all the way back to the beginning and recalculate exactly how much we're going to need to charge per hour, and then we can break it down per hour, per day, per week, per month, and then we can redo and recalculate, because realistically what we need to be doing is we need to be making the business profitable, and we need to make sure that there's enough money. So it could just mean that we may just have to increase the hourly rate ever so slightly. Might be £10 an hour, which takes it round. If we said up by £12 an hour, that takes it round about £60, which is a nice round figure, which makes life a lot easier, which could then drastically change these numbers. So as you can see, currently we're £102,000 in debt, but we've got £50,000 stashed away somewhere in a savings. If we'd have left those others, which I think we would have had about 40, there'd be about £100,000 in the separate account as well, which would mean that you were only roughly £2,000 in debt, because you'd still have a surplus of cash that would be stored away somewhere for a rainy day, which would also, because you'd have that cash, it sounds silly this, but because you'd have that cash, the bank would be more willing to loan you money. So the daft thing would be, even though you'd be in debt, you'd only be in debt to the bank, but you still have the surplus of cash as well, just to help get you through any rough times, any rough patches. So then, moving on to the fifth and final year, the big year that would make us a millionaire. So he says. So same again. We need to start off in a negative, which is 102,104. So 102,104. We'll be doing 88,000 per month. Also, we've increased the number of engineers, so we've increased it to 10 engineers plus myself plus 2 office staff now. So I've calculated it at 11 vans, which is 11 lots of fuel, 11 phone bills, 10 subscriptions, because same say, you're not going to be, yourself's not going to be out and about doing the work. You may do bits and bobs, so a van's going to be extremely useful. You may even just go out doing deliveries for lads. If anybody needs anything, you can just pick it up, take it to them, help get the jobs going, keep it moving, make it more efficient. So you're not going to need a subscription, because you're not going to be actually down to be doing jobs. 11 uniforms. At that point, whether you're going to want to wear a uniform or not, most likely going to be entirely up to yourself. So yeah, it'd be entirely up to yourself if you still wanted to wear a uniform. If you want to turn up wearing a suit and a tie or a pair of jeans or whatever, there ain't going to be anybody to tell you any different. It'd be entirely up to yourself. So then obviously another 3 iPads and another 3 lots of tools. So no, not another 3. It's going to be another 5 lots of tools. Dun, 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 so 10. That's 10, 10, dun, dun, dun. So 5. No, we got that 5. Right. So yeah. But on the plus side, you will have a bit of a surplus of money if you have been saving that money that you would have put for your VAT. So if you're taking 35% and putting it into a separate account, keeping it well out of way of your actual business account, you will have a substantial amount of money by year 5. But the business itself is most likely still going to be in debt. So because we've just employed another 5 engineers, we've increased his marketing by double, up to £10,000 a month. His business rates have shot up as well. As finance is probably still going to be the same. As fees have shot up, as accountants' bills have shot up. So we'd be looking at the first month we'd be spending £105,000. So we've lost in the first month, that'd be £20,000. And then it looks as though we'd still be losing round about £8,000 per month on the 5th year. So you'd be round about £250,000 in the hole by year 5. But on the plus side, you'd be turning over £1 million, so you'd have £1 million business. You could tell everybody you were a millionaire, but it probably won't worth much, especially considering that you're only earning £35,000 a month, £35,000 a year, running a £1 million business. So same as I say, those the calculations of the hourly rate and the weekly, monthly rates that we did previous, same as I say, totally out. They're just not profitable. But it was good to see, rather than doing that and then getting started and charging that and ending up down the rabbit hole and being in debt, at least now we know that it's not going to make much sense charging £48 an hour. So now we're going to have to recalculate and have a look at what would be profitable. So thanks for joining in. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and the like button, and I'll be back next week. Next week we'll recalculate, and then we'll do another cash flow forecast just to make sure it's profitable, and then we can move on. Thanks a lot.